when we consider the scale of violence against women, it's important for us to actually recognize that the problem is there. And the problem is not just confined to the region or to groups. So in the UK alone, domestic abuse statistics reveal that violence is an everyday reality for thousands of women. But we must also consider the underreported cases. And so this brings me to my first question, which is, what is the current state of violence against women globally? And in the UK, how prevalent is the issue across different social, economic, racial, and age group? I will start with Rumi.
Okay, I'm Remy, Remzije Duli. I'm Kosovan. I work with mainly with refugees and asylum seekers from Kosovar, Albania, and the whole of Balkan region. I'm also a interim chair for the Advocacy Refugee Forum, which is mainly represents refugee organizations in London. In 2020, we published a report as part of Refugee Council in London called Full Circle, and out of it we created a documentary later on, which was screened here last year during the 16 days, raising awareness around 16 days against violence towards women and girls. And we had lived experiences, women sharing their own experiences from 3 different countries, Africa, Kosovo and Albania, escaping violence and hoping for sanctuary in UK. Yeah. So the feedback there was that they were escaping. It could be domestic violence, it could be human trafficking, modern slavery, and when they came to UK hoping for sanctuary, in fact, they're in opposite. They were continuing to be abused, and it could be through the medical system because the medical staff will not understand the cultural differences. They will not understand the challenges that someone experiencing human trafficking and modern slavery and the science. Yeah. And then, of course, the language barriers as well, and etc. But mostly housing, for example, yes. For these victims to create that trust, it takes a long time. And the immigration has a tendency to move service users, clients, so often, so they fail to create that trust and relationships. And then furthermore, kids. So you ask about the prevalence of domestic violence.
Yes.
In Albania, for example, everywhere, like in UK, 1 in 4 women, they are experiencing domestic violence. These are the current figures here. Yes. In Albania, every 3rd woman experiences domestic violence. No surprise that in UK, most refugees are filled in with Albanian women. Someone else from Asian community was speaking earlier. It's exactly the same. The culture, you cannot escape culture. It's not appropriate. I didn't come here to talk about myself, my life, but I represent community. I am a face of community, and I was 10, 15 years ago, and my ex-partner used that to belittle me. And the community, funny enough, they trust men more than women. So whether it's down to us or it's actually the lack of educating the whole society about the importance of equality, because when you think of perpetrators, there are about 40% of perpetrators that reoffend. Yeah. And the reason is because we're allowing them in a way, but also we're not doing anything about it. For example, programs for perpetrators, they're not as, we have a lot of programs to empower women, but there's not much to empower young boys and to prevent men from reoffending. I know in Kosovo we only started recently delivering programs to offenders, perpetrators, but that didn't exist before. And this is just this year. And when we think how many women, they've been killed there over and over. And then, of course, we have the issue of the sexual violence during the war as well, which is another thing. which I don't want to go into it, but in general, there's a lot we need to do. There's so much we have to do, and we can also do. And the only way we can do it, there's no men and women. I think in partnership, we need to do it together, because when we look at violence, it doesn't just come out of nothing. So we need to start from family, educating ourselves as parents, the importance of parenting and positive discipline, because those perpetrators, they have a beginning somewhere. Nobody teaches their child to beat women, or teaches the child male, or child female to beat a man. Nobody does that, but we show it by acting that way. So we need to think about modeling, we need to think about positive discipline, we need to think about what is creating these perpetrators. How can we stop this violence? And then media, someone else was talking about media and exposure to media, video games, drugs, alcohol, everything that our children are exposed today. Yeah. So we can't just look at it as a fault, one gender against the other. We're not in the war here. We need together to work in such a way so we bring up healthy children free of violence. And I'm going to leave it there. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was definitely a full answer. So I wanted to definitely just point out some things that you've actually talked about. So in the UK, domestic abuse incidents are reported every minute, but these numbers may not reflect the full picture, as many cases go unreported. And so it's important what you've said about education, educating our children, educating the schools, educating our boys and also our girls as well, and even the perpetrators. These are very crucial. So thank you so much for covering that for us.